All right. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the CARCA Student and Staff Workforce Development Interest Group today. Today, we have two really well-known people that I've been working with, and I'm proud to have them today to talk to us a little bit about their career, where they started, and where they plan to go. Today, we have for you Blaise Hartman. She's the User Services Lead from NASA Advanced Computing Division, and Taylor Graham. She's a Research Solutions Hardware Engineer for Rosen Center for Advanced Computing at Purdue University. We will be recording the presentation, and then we'll stop it as the presentation is complete so that they can go ahead and we can ask questions. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Blaise. I think we decided you were going to go first, and you have slides, correct? I think you're on mute.
Yes, there are slides. And do you want me to share the screen?
Yes. I would try. I think do you have access to do that?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see. Screen. Share.
Yep.
I think
It looks like you are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to put this in hopefully slideshow mode. I've never actually used the Google version of this before, but Betsy gave me this nice template to be able to work off of. Wasn't sure who the audience was going to be, and I have a bit of a sense of humor, so I called this How to Become a Mastermind, and there is a reason for that. So a little bit of background as we get into this. I started out in compliance when I got out of college. Worked for a real estate investment company. And then within 3 years, I was at GE working as an engineering assistant and then an engineer. And I stayed there for 8 years. And then I came to supercomputing directly with no intermediate between for the last 13 years. So I don't have a normal career arc. So I went into something I thought might be a little more helpful. So this is some mentoring that I put together and how I sort of move through actually jumping from career to career. So jumping into that and my little joke of how to, first steps to becoming a mastermind. The first thing, if you want to try to, sit down and figure out what you want to do, is to come up with like a funny title that lets you explore what you're really interested in doing instead of, I want to be the branch chief. I want to be the system administrator. If you put yourself in that, you're locked in and you're always going to look at, those specific things, and the things on the peripheral that actually might fit you better, you won't see. So, the first thing is come up with something that says, this is what I really actually want to do. This is what I want to know. It's not find your passions, because then it kills your passion, because work always does. But, what would you want to do if you could actually pick, in an ideal universe, what you were going to do? So I came up with this as mastermind, someone who plans a difficult activity in detail and makes certain that it happens successfully. So that is, defining it. And then I have my own list of things that I wanted to do, but they were very specific and I didn't think they applied. And really, this is for you. So once you know what you want to be, which I like to be a mastermind, hopefully you do too, you can make a chart of the different levels that are shown below. So there's a Foursquare on the next screen, but for this, you want to say, I'm currently performing at this level. I'm doing these jobs already. I like this. I want to continue. Then the second level is I'm working with people and providing information or resources for this particular type of item. I'm not in control of it, but I'd like to be a little more involved. Then the third square, the growth opportunities. These are things that that specifically, I want to do this. I know I can go ask for this. These are the ones that are the easiest to reach. You're not currently engaged, but you'd like to be. You can go out and market yourself, ask for these different roles. These are things that are more achievable. And then there are opportunities that you want, but you have no idea how to get to them. So this is what that chart looks like. So you put it in here, performing. That probably looks really weird, my hand coming directly towards you. So currently performing at level, the currently collaborating, growth opportunities where you have something very specific where you know you can move forward in that, and then write down those big dreams of, I want to know this, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. And that is the start, is writing down that you don't know where to start and what they are. Then you're going to use that chart. So we'll call this finding the fruit. So when you're looking at the 4 squares, what opportunities could you do right now without negatively impacting your current responsibilities? You don't want to commit to something that you won't actually be able to achieve. You want something that is achievable and bite-sized. I'm going to call this the low-hanging fruit. So it's a quick win. It helps you get established, starts you on this journey so that you have the first steps and you can build up from there. So I did an example of this one, like, what is the top level outcome? So for mine, I said improve the configuration change management process. All right, great. I know I want to do this. How? How am I going to do this? So that first step, you write down, how am I going to accomplish it? Who's going to be a blocker? Who's going to be a person that I need to talk to for this? Who's a stakeholder? Who can I reach out to reach this goal? And then come up with your actions. So for this one, it was meet with the project management team and discuss the configuration change request in the project lifecycle. And then with that, move to the branch chief to start moving it into Jira. So those are 2 very specific actions that I can take, who I can talk to, who I need to meet with. And that tells me, okay, this is what I need to pursue to get to these next steps. So now that you've chosen the fruit, you've already started that. Maybe you got a quick win. You're feeling confident. What's the next step? So what are the 2 top priorities in your growth opportunities that you really want to work on? And you might have listed 6, 7, 25, overachiever, but pick 2 because those are going to be your focus. So what you do with that is you just sit down and say, okay, of this priority, what step can I take today that's going to get me to the end goal? Because this is going to be a medium term. Like, this is going to take some time. This could take 3 to 6 months. So I said that I want to do more with development and implementing policies. That's pretty big. There's a lot of policies in the world. You got to pick one. So I picked that I'm going to work on the data management policy. Okay, I've got it. Now, what do I do? My first action was review how other people are doing the data structures. I mean, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. So you review those, see what we have in common, and use that as a foundation. One of these is an example of a data management agreement with each PI on what should happen to a project's data when it's retired, created at the beginning of the project. I know that there's another site that's doing this. Like, this is a great example of a very small, specific piece of the data management policy that I can bring forward, the data management agreement. So that's just showing you it's very easy to write down a big goal. It's a lot harder to get those action steps in, but those action steps are what's actually going to take you to the next level. Then, once you've done that and you're ready to move on to your long-term, your big goals, you can assemble your team. So it's the hardest step because this is where you have no idea how to get started. But those are also the most fun and where you're going to find the most support. So you're going to look at those opportunities and you're going to say, okay, do I know anyone who works in this particular field? Maybe you don't. So finding a mentor might be a little harder in that. Do I know a professional organization that might help me with that particular field? Those are usually easier to find. Like the special interest groups, like the SIG HPC, that's who I work with. You know, but also it doesn't have to be that big. Just if you talk to your peers, like your coworkers, your friends, ask them if they know about system administration, or someone that you could talk to and ask questions. And the more specific you can get, the more likely you're going to get help. So say, I want to be a sysadmin. Well, that's really big. Let's start smaller. Like, do you know how to install an OS? You're probably going to be a little more than the basic there, but that's like one of the first steps to getting towards being a sysadmin. But finding someone who you have the very specific question that will get you further. Uh, then you can attend networking events, something sort of like this. And then also, I really enjoy this, joining the SIG HPC Slack channels. It's been one of the best things for me when I actually, if I'm hear something in a meeting, I'm like, I don't really know what that means. I know I can go to the Slack channels and ask questions and not be judged for it. And that's really nice to have. They're almost anonymous to you because you don't really know who most of these people are, and they're not judging you. They probably don't know who you are either. But you can get like a real answer to a question that you have. You're not Googling it. Google is, it'll give you just about any answer, and it's probably not the right one. But you can actually talk to people who are experiencing the same sort of things that you're experiencing. So that was probably a lot faster than I was supposed to go through that. But why did I show you this? So it really works for all goals and all roles. So, you see this and you're like, oh, what am I going to do with that? I'm already established. Well, it'll help you identify your skills and blockers. Everybody wants to advance. It helps you to find your low hanging fruit, getting those small wins, building up your confidence. Most times you say something like, I want to be a sysadmin. It's so big that you don't know where to start. You have to find something very small to focus on. Like, I want to learn how to do this as a sysadmin, and then build up your steps so that you can actually see where to start. Otherwise, it's just too big. And then, when you make those actions lists, they're really great for your annual review. You're like, I did this, and this. I coordinated all of these things. I made this happen. A lot of times we build things and then we forget because it's a year and that's a really long time. But this will help you to actually build back up your annual review or your resume. A really great way to do your resume too, if you're looking for something different, is I did all of these steps that maybe apply to a new role. And this also keeps you focused on the skills you want to develop and what you really want to do. I found that when I don't have a plan, when I don't have something I'm focused on where I want to achieve, I do meander a bit, which is how I can jump from being an engineer to working in high performance computing and being the archival mind of this place. I don't technically have a computer science degree. I have an English and psychology degree. And yet I'm considered one of the most knowledgeable people within our division because I picked up on everything. It helps to be able to focus on what you want to actually know and learn so that you can grow into that, even if it's something that you're not formally trained in. And by keeping that list around, it identifies opportunities so that you can say, I really did want to do this. You look back at that and you go, oh, yeah, maybe I can still go back and make those steps. So it makes it bite-sized and it's achievable. And the best part about all this is that it should help you build your confidence. So if that was the end of my slides, I can't see any of you, which is great, because you're probably all sitting there going, what is she talking about? But did anyone have any questions?
Feel free to unmute, or you can drop it in the chat, either way. So Blaise, I have one question. As you were starting to develop your plan, was there a particular mentor that you worked with, or did you have someone that you connected with that helped you guide through this, or is this something you kind of figured out on your own?
it kind of bounced around a lot. So some of it I figured out on my own. Some of it I did have a mentor that I talked to for 2 sessions, just to kind of get some very specific career advice, which is a bit weird because like normally people don't have mentors within their own departments. At NASA, that's a little weird. I'm like, why would I want to have a mentor who's a rocket scientist when I work in HPC? We're a very niche thing here. So I kind of needed someone within HPC to be a mentor. But, we worked through that. Um, but yeah, I've just had, we'll call it informal mentors throughout my career that just help me learn and to focus on this is what you need to focus on. This is what you need to do. This is how you make this achievable, how you make it bite size so that you don't try to take on all of it at once and get so frustrated that you stop.
Thank you. Other questions for Blaise? If you want to stop sharing your screen, we can have Taylor start to switch.
Excellent. Thank you. I thought I had stopped already. Sorry.
Taylor, are you good at?
I'm trying. Zoom is not friendly when it comes to letting me share my screen. Let's see, Chrome tab.
It should be at the bottom. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I think. Oops. Okay, so my presentation is pretty different from Blaise's. I'll be mostly talking about me, like my past experiences, work experiences, my education, just because it kind of leads up to where I am today. I think it's an interesting story not many people know about. So I will get right into it. As previously mentioned, my name is Taylor Graham. I work for the Rosen Center for Advanced Computing as a research solutions hardware engineer. So before I dive into the details of my journey, I want to first preface that this is not where I thought I would end up career-wise, nor did I even think I'd have the opportunity to be in the HPC space. You'll see and find out that I did not follow a traditional path whatsoever. So for my presentation, I wanted to start with a simple idea or theme, and that is one conversation can change everything. So I kind of want to go back to my education because I think that's where my unconventional path really took shape. In 2015, I got accepted to Ball State and Purdue. At the time, I really did not want to go to college because I had no idea what I wanted to do. But overall, I decided to go to Ball State from 2015 to 2017. I took the opportunity to leave my hometown of Lafayette. Not that Muncie is very far away. But then in 2017, I did end up moving back home due to a new addition of a little brother to be closer to family. And you are reading correctly. I had 5 different majors within my college career: zoology, photojournalism, criminal justice, transferred to Purdue to study CNIT, and then finally settled with organizational leadership and got my bachelor's. So I was very happy about that. And surprisingly, I graduated on time. So I did not have to have any extra added time with that. For my work experience, after college, I still had no idea what I wanted to do. A friend of mine at the time worked at a hospital as a patient care assistant, and we thought it would be fun to work together. So I was hesitant to apply originally because I didn't have any experience in the healthcare space either. But I applied, I got hired, and was on a critical care cardiac unit. That later doubled to a COVID unit when the pandemic hit. But after 3 years of doing 12.5-hour shifts 3 nights a week, and then 3 rounds of COVID coming through, I decided to search for a day job that was also less demanding. Even though I loved the people at the hospital, they were like a second family, I was ready to move on from that experience, but I would never regret it. It was amazing, and the people there were amazing. Then I had a friend of a friend who told me about a position with the Indiana Department of Health for a records keeping position. I thought it'd be super cool because it was with a mobile vaccine clinic for the COVID vaccines, flu, just day-to-day vaccines, could be pretty much anything. We would travel around Indiana doing clinics at events, doing house calls, and then also occasionally working from home. I thought it'd be really cool, but it got old really, really quick. COVID was slowing down, therefore clinics weren't really happening as often, and if they did, not many people would show up. And the homework was very, very repetitive, and it got super boring. So which leads me to my current position as a hardware engineer. So how did I go from being in healthcare for 4 years to now being in the HPC space? As I said in the beginning, one conversation can change everything, and that's exactly how it happened. I was actually invited to a casual dinner with 3 individuals, one of them being Betsy herself, who was formerly with RCAC at the time, and the other 2, Laura Thedman and Susanna Gardner, who are still with RCAC. And conversation was brought up saying that they were looking for a hardware engineer in the data center, and Betsy thought it would be something I'd be perfect for. And shortly after that, I was offered the position, despite having no formal background in technology or hardware. So this was a major pivotal moment for me, and realizing that being at the right place at the right time can open many doors, and you never know what conversations will be sparked up and had. So some of the challenges I face day to day is having the lack of knowledge and the fear that comes along with that. Starting the role with no background in technical or HPC was very intimidating, but it helps that I'm not afraid to ask questions. Granted, I have trouble coming up with the right questions. But what does scare me is making mistakes. I do have to remind myself that making those mistakes is a part of the job, and more importantly, part of growth. I'm learning failing is how you learn. So if I mess up, I try not to be too hard on myself. The second is finding belonging in a male-dominated space. Currently on my team, the engineering team within RCAC, I'm the only female of 16 plus members. It does feel pretty isolating, but I've learned to speak up, trust my instincts, and stand my ground. As an introvert, that's absolutely terrifying, but it's definitely thrilling when I get those wins. And that's kind of why I continue to show up. I want to prove that I belong here and help make space for the next woman who joins. The third is facing a mentorship gap in my immediate environment. Consistent mentorship within my immediate team has been pretty limited. I've had to look outward, connecting with mentors in other teams, both on RCAC and outside of RCAC itself, different fields and communities. It's taught me to seek support, build networks, and take ownership of my own growth. My closest members are here on campus, but I'm continuously building new connections. I've built connections with mentors in the academic space at Arizona and Virginia, as well as the industry space at HPE. So my mentors are these 4 people on this slide: Betsy Hillary, Chris Phillips, who are with Archie, Laura Thedman, and Susanna Gardner, who are with RCAC, a part of a different team. They work with more of the outreach side of things. So I get a variety and a broad spectrum of that. Betsy, I've actually known for quite some time, is always encouraging me to pursue new challenges, get involved with different groups and committees. Is always looking out for new training opportunities that would help me grow. Chris was my original manager at RCAC before advancing his career at Archie. Although we don't work together anymore, he does still block time once a week for one-on-one trainings, which has been extremely helpful and instrumental in building my technical knowledge and confidence. His guidance provides a consistent space for growth, learning, and questions. Laura has been a steady source of encouragement and perspective, especially through my involvement with Purdue's WHPC chapter. While we don't work together day to day, her support, whether offering thoughtful advice, listening through the rants, or grounding me through stressful moments, has been invaluable to both my personal and professional growth. Susanna gets me out of my comfort zone. She brings me in on projects and presentations she's working on and allows me to provide input and help create something fun and meaningful to occasionally actually co-present with her to different groups of people. She encourages me to attend events or conferences that are not hardware or even engineering related, which allows me to explore new interests and adds variety to my workload. Each of them are important in their own way, but they all have something in common. I can go to each of them for just about anything. Whatever I bring to them, I know I don't have to worry about feeling like I'm being looked down upon. They're always there to help, and if they don't know the answer to a problem I'm having, they'll always take time to work with me and figure out a course of action to surpass any obstacle I do have. They're a group of individuals that I will always look up to. Those of you that are on this call, thank you for always looking out for me. So why do I continue to do this? I do this for those who think they have to be experts before they can begin. I want to prove that I belong here, and I also want to show others, especially those who identify as female, that they also belong in this space. I'm continuously learning and growing every day. I'm the only woman on my team right now, but I also don't want to be the last. Some advice that I would give to pretty much anybody, the list could be endless, but my top 6 would be leverage people you know. You heard me say when I went over my work experience that each job was leveraged by a friend of a friend, or it could even be a family member. Leverage the connections you have currently to build those new connections that will come later. Stay open-minded, even if it's something outside of your realm or your norm. If there's something that interests you, then I would definitely go after it. And this was definitely out of my realm or my norm, but I wanted the opportunity to take it. And that's what I did. Next one is say yes. Say yes to lunches, dinners, networking events, anything that gets you out and around a new group of people. You never know what type of conversations you'll have. And then lean into the unexpected. You never know what problems people may be facing. It could be that you have a solution to a problem that someone may be having, which could lead to a new opportunity for you to take on yourself. And then embrace challenges. With new opportunities, obviously comes new challenges. Embrace them and don't be afraid to fail. That's the only way to learn, is from my experience. And then I think most importantly, success isn't always linear. You don't have to take the same path as another person trying to achieve success. There are always multiple ways to reach what you consider as success. So, thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. I'm going to stop the recording so we can ask some questions. Okay.